So you think NVIDIA is the whole story when it comes to making money off AI? Not even close. There's another company, kind of a hidden landlord, that's quietly collecting a tax on, well, pretty much every AI thing you do. And that's what we're digging into today. Let's do it.
Think about it. You ask the AI on your phone a question, maybe to translate something or touch up a photo. To you, it's instant, it's free, but behind the curtain, someone's collecting a little toll, a tiny fee on that action. So who's the gatekeeper here? Yeah, the analysis we're breaking down here has a great name for it, the knowledge tax. And that's the perfect way to put it, right? You're not paying for the app. You're paying for the basic fundamental ability of your phone to even have that thought. And there's one company out there that has a total stranglehold on collecting this tax. All right, so let's start by pulling back the curtain on this invisible tax. You see, that AI app on your phone, it might be free to download, but the hardware, the actual guts of your phone that let it run, that's built on licensed tech. And there's this one company, one that most people have never even thought about, that's cashing in on every single command you give. Why? Because they own the blueprints, the essential designs. So why is this all happening now? Well, it's because of a huge shift in technology. The source we're looking at calls it the Great Cloud Exit. And this single change, it's the reason this whole landlord business model is even possible. You know, for the longest time, if you wanted to do any real heavy-duty AI stuff, it had to happen in the cloud. Your phone would send a request to some massive server farm miles away. But that's all changing. That era is basically over. The future of AI, heck, the present of AI, is right here in your pocket. It's happening on your device. And if you look at why, it really boils down to two huge things: speed and privacy. When you use cloud AI, there's always a lag, right? That's latency. Your question has to fly across the internet and back. But on device AI, it's instant. And maybe even bigger than that. Your data stays with you. It never leaves your phone, which is a massive win for privacy. Okay, but here's the catch. There's a massive problem. Trying to run these incredibly complex AI models on a tiny little battery, it's a total nightmare. These things are absolute power hogs. You need a chip architecture that is just ridiculously efficient. I mean, something that can handle all that work without literally melting your phone. And it turns out there's really only one architecture that can pull it off: ARM9. And that technical requirement is what has allowed the company we're talking about, ARM, to pull off what the source calls a royalty revolution. They basically flipped their entire business model on its head. See, for decades, ARM was, well, kind of boring. They had this steady, quiet business. They designed the basic blueprints for mobile chips, license them out, and collect a small 1% to 2% royalty. It was a solid business for sure, but nothing that would set the world on fire. But this is where everything changes. Because this new on-device AI absolutely requires ARM's best, most advanced designs. And so what did ARM do? They jacked up their rates. We're talking more than double, to over 5%. It's not just that they're selling more, they're charging a huge premium for the exact blueprints that every single company now desperately needs. And the financial result of this, it is absolutely staggering. With this newfound pricing power, ARM's projected operating margin is a whopping 46%. I mean, that is an insane level of profitability. And it's all possible because they own the one key to the kingdom that everybody has to have. So you're probably asking, how is it possible to be that profitable? It all comes down to their business model, which our source material perfectly describes as the landlord model. It's beautiful because it's so efficient and requires almost no capital. Let me break it down like this. You've got companies like Intel, right? They're factory builders. They have to spend billions and billions of dollars on physical factories. But ARM, they're a recipe seller. They don't build anything physical. They just sell the digital drawing, the secret recipe, over and over and over again. And the cost to sell one more recipe? It's basically zero. This is where a financial term called free cash flow, or FCF, becomes super important. Here's a simple way to think about it. Imagine you own a cafe. You might make 10 grand in a month, which sounds great. But if you have to spend 9 grand on a new roof, your real cash is pretty low. Now think about ARM. They sell the secret coffee recipe to thousands of cafes. They have almost no expenses. All that cash that comes in, it's pretty much pure, clean profit. That's a powerful FCF. Okay, so this all leads to the million-dollar question, or in this case, the multi-billion-dollar question. A lot of critics look at ARM's stock price and just scream, bubble, it's way too expensive. But there's a counter-argument that completely reframes how you should even think about this company.
And yeah, here's the number that has people spooked: a forward PE ratio of 85x. For any normal company in the chip business, that is sky high, like stratosphere high. But that begs the question, is ARM even a normal chip company?
And that's the absolute heart of the bullish argument. The mistake is looking at ARM like it's a chip company. It's not. According to this view, ARM is basically the operating system for the entire AI hardware world. Think of it like a Microsoft Windows, but for AI chips. It's in a league of its own.
Because when you get right down to it, all the big dogs, Apple, Samsung, Google, you name it, they have to pay the ARM tax. There's no way around it. If they want to build their own custom AI chips, they need ARM's architecture. So owning a piece of this company, it's less like owning stock and more like owning the toll booth that collects a fee on almost every AI device for the next decade. Which leaves us with a final question to chew on. We're in the middle of this massive AI gold rush, and everyone's trying to figure out who's going to find the most gold, which app will win, which phone maker will dominate. But maybe the real genius move isn't digging for gold at all. Maybe it's selling the shovels, or in this case, being the one who gets to tax every single shovel that gets sold.